Hey, what's up guys? Joker here. Today we're going to be taking a look at another WASD keyboard. This is actually the third one of their keyboards that I have looked at here on the channel, but we're going to be focusing on the use of this keyboard, being that it is a 104 key keyboard versus the 10 keyless variants that I have shown in the past. My daily use keyboard is one of the WASD keyboards. It's a just very simple minimalist design, all black keycaps, nothing really too crazy going on with it, and I use Cherry MX Brown switches in that particular keyboard. But this is one of the 104 key variants, so that means we've got the full numpad off to the right, so we're going to be talking about some of the positives of 10 keyless versus a full-size keyboard during the course of this review and kind of comparing between the black and the brown switches. This is actually the first time that I've got to use Cherry MX Black switches, I should say. I've tested the browns from WASD. I've also used their clears inside of one of the Code keyboards, which is their backlit lineup of keyboards. But these are the Cherry MX Black, so they require 60 centinewtons of force to actually go ahead and actuate the keyboard versus the browns, which require 45 centinewtons of force when pushing down on the keys. So it's a little bit heavier of a key press, but there's also some differences going on inside the mechanical switch portion, where this is a linear switch, very similar to a Cherry MX Red. So if you're familiar with a Cherry MX Red, this is going to feel the same when pressing it down, but it requires 15 more centinewtons of force when you are trying to actuate it. And the Cherry MX Browns actually have a tactile bump about halfway down. They don't have the full click, they just have kind of like a bump, which kind of lets you know when you fully press down the key so that it should be registering on your screen. But this doesn't have any of that. It's completely linear. So it is going to reduce some of the noise and the feedback that you would hear from something like a Cherry MX Brown or even like a Cherry MX Blue keyboard, certainly, which is much more clicky than a black or a red keyboard. I would say that this is more on the clackety side versus clickety. I don't know if that's a technical terminology, but it definitely sounds more clackety to me. Go ahead and do a quick typing test here comparing between the browns and the black switches so you can get an idea of what we're dealing with. The reason I keep coming back to using WASD keyboards is just the simplicity of the design, the minimalist look, and also the impeccable build quality. These are really second to none as compared to the other keyboards that I have, tried personally in my use around my house, or in, going to like PAX and trying out keyboards there, or in Micro Center. I've touched a lot of keyboards in my day, but I keep coming back to the feel of the WASD keyboards, which is why I have no issues recommending them. You're paying upwards of about $150 to get one of these keyboards custom made for you, but when you do, you are getting something that is truly one of a kind, and they are made incredibly well. So really no issues recommending these to you guys out there. But let's go ahead and jump into looking at the 10 keyless versus the full-size keyboard and some of the benefits that you would see with that. So on a full-size keyboard, obviously you've got the extended numpad out to the right, which is going to be beneficial, certainly if you are doing something like data entry more frequently. If you're filling out a lot of spreadsheets and you do a lot of desktop work where you do need to use a numpad, then the answer is really going to be very simple for you. You could just go ahead and get something with a numpad. But I had honestly drifted away from that. A while back I wanted to get into a 10 keyless keyboard because I didn't really use it too much, and I just prefer the symmetrical and simple look of having a 10 keyless keyboard on my desk. Not only that, but a 10 keyless also gives you a shorter travel distance going from your mouse to the keyboard if you do need to switch back and forth when you're working on things. I feel when I do have the full extended keyboard, it kind of gets in the way sometimes. Certainly when I'm gaming, it gives you less desk real estate when you're using your mouse, so you kind of have to keep your hand a little bit further out to the right. So that's really one of the benefits of a 10 keyless there, is that it does have a smaller footprint on your desk. I also like the symmetrical design of a Tenkeyless and the minimalist style that it brings along with it, because it just kind of cuts out the extra fluff that's along on the right side of the keyboard that I don't find myself using often enough really to justify having that there. And I find them also ergonomically more comfortable when I am using them. But you guys, it's really going to be subjective to you out there. But personally, I do find it more ergonomic when I'm using a Tenkeyless keyboard. It just seems to fit my use needs, more proficiently than a full-size keyboard. But there are certainly benefits of having a full-size keyboard besides just doing data entry. There are some games out there which certainly utilize the numpad, Arma being one of them. So if you're a big Arma player, you know how much the numpad comes into play when you're playing a game like that. Also, MMOs is another area where you might find use for the numpad when actually gaming. And also lefties. Lefties, without a doubt, if you are using the numpad when you're gaming and you're moving your mouse over to the left side and gaming with your right hand, the numpad is going to be a great place for you to, kind of reassign your WASD keys. Just having all the keys right there is certainly going to be convenient for you for games that at least support it. Believe it or not, there are actually some games out there that you'll still come across nowadays where you can't map stuff to the numpad, and I'm sure for lefties out there, that is a serious pain in the butt. But if you are a lefty, certainly the having the numpad here is going to be beneficial to you. And lastly, I would say that the enter key on the numpad actually is something that I really like. I like having that short travel distance for the enter key, just having it right there, kind of on the side. It's very easy to find. When I first switched going from a full-size keyboard over to Tenkeyless, that was one of the first things that I had to get used to. I would find myself constantly going from the mouse to like the right arrow key because there wasn't an enter button on the keyboard any longer. So that was something that I did have to get used to when switching to a Tenkeyless keyboard. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'd be curious to see, what your thoughts are on this. I haven't really been able to find much content out there talking about Tenkeyless versus a full-size keyboard, and when I was trying to make the switch, it was certainly something I was looking for information on to try to find out what the benefits of one are versus the other. I mean, really what it comes down to with a Tenkeyless is you are getting the smaller footprint, you're getting a shorter movement when you're going from the mouse to the keyboard, and it's a more symmetrical and I believe better ergonomic feel. But there are certain use cases where the numpad is going to be beneficial to gamers over others depending on the games that you play, or if you are a lefty certainly and you need to do a lot of data entry, then it could be good for you too. So let me know your thoughts once again down in the comments below. If you want a link over to wasdkeyboards.com where you can go ahead and customize one of these for yourself, I will leave a link to that down in the description below as well, and I will catch you guys next time.